When it comes to the idea of a survival rifle, a lot of things come to mind for me, and a lot of things come to mind for you. And depending on who you are, you probably have that ideal survival rifle in mind. As a matter of fact, when I first started getting into guns, concealed carry guns were always kind of my first priority, but a survival rifle is really my second priority, and I looked into it quite a bit. As a matter of fact, as I look at guns and go to SHOT Show and just gun stores around the world, survival rifles always intrigue me. There's a lot of great ones. You know, some of the best. You look at things like a Ruger 1022 takedown, or even an AR pistol, which can also take down. Because for me, in order to be a survival rifle, you kind of need to be able to fit it in a backpack. I don't feel comfortable wandering around anywhere with a rifle over my shoulder. You know, honestly, of all the state parks and national parks I've been into, it's not a good idea. So, but, you know, it's good to have a survival rifle on you. You know, there's certain places in America where you can get way lost into the wilderness and be out there for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you look at just like Yellowstone, for example, most of the deaths come from geysers, strangely. But after geysers is usually things like bear attacks, but it's often you know, when they go into the outback, when they go deep into the woods, they get off the trails, because a lot of people do. They like kind of those more challenging trails and hikes. You know, they get way deep in. You know, you look at the Rocky Mountains. I mean, go from Baja, Mexico to Alaska. It's just a vast wilderness. So a survival rifle is, I believe, very necessary if you're going to be spending time in those areas. Now, with that being said, there's a survival rifle that I've always been intrigued by, and from the moment I first saw it, I thought, that's a good one. Is this the ultimate survival rifle? Now, before we get into it, I do want to take a moment, thank our sponsor, ES Power Drink, for not just supporting our channel, but literally to some degree saving my life. I have already lost over 30 pounds. I was saying 30 pounds a few weeks ago. Now it's over 30 pounds. There's a lot of variables there on why I'm losing weight, but a big piece of it is being able to brew this delicious drink that's kind of got a green tea, lemonade, Trinidad scorpion pepper taste to it. Because what it does is, if you're not really into working out, it's going to heat up your body like a workout, which is going to allow you to burn calories. It's going to increase your metabolism. It's going to increase your better sleep, better mindset, better focus, so many aspects. And I can't eat a Trinidad scorpion pepper, and I definitely don't want to. Even if I could, I'd do it once, and I'd probably say, I'm never doing that again. I know there's a lot of people into that. That's not me. But this way I can get the health benefits of it, and it's a delicious drink on top of it. And they put them into K-Cups, which makes it more affordable, and I prefer them freshly brewed. It's much better tasting, in my opinion. That link is below. Ultimately, what I'm talking about is the TNW Firearms Aero Survival Rifle. Now, the first time I saw one of these was at Bass Pro, and I was immediately like, what is that thing? Because what you ultimately have is what you have is a rifle with a collapsible stock, is only about 29.5 inches long. 32 inches for you Canadians. Not sure why that is, but most gun laws I find ignorant. Anyway, of course, it's got a 16-inch barrel and all. But when it collapses, when you take it apart, it gets down to 17.25 inches. Now, just because a rifle breaks down doesn't necessarily mean it's the end-all, be-all. But it's really kind of a few other things. One, it's incredibly lightweight, but it's also the calibers that it takes. You can get it in 9, 40, 45, 357 SIG, 10 millimeter, or 22 LR. Now, for me, the only ones I've ever seen have been 10 millimeters, so I was a little surprised they had other calibers. I just assumed they were all 10 millimeters. But they do have all these other different calibers, as well as you can get packages with different barrels. So you can get like a package that has 9, 40, and 10 millimeter, for example. You just put on a different barrel. And of course, The other aspect of this is the magazines, which it just takes Glock mags all the way around, regardless of whether it's 10, 40, 45, 22, all that. It's just a Glock mag. Now, this is where it gets very intriguing. If I lived in Alaska, an area where there was a lot of bears or the Rocky Mountains or parts of Montana and Idaho, like if I lived in these areas, I would definitely be carrying a 10mm Glock round with me. I would. I think it's kind of the ideal survival pistol, you know, especially the subcompact version in 10mm. Now, here's the great thing about it. Because this survival rifle also takes Glock mags, you know, if you're looking to really survive, I think if you have a Glock 10mm and a survival rifle in 10mm, you're going to do great. Like there is nothing in North America that either one of those guns wouldn't handle just fine. Whether it's a moose or a grizzly bear or whatever the case may be, it's kind of ideal. And I ultimately, that's where I kind of come back to, you know, is this the ultimate survival rifle? Because for me, really an AR pistol was always the ultimate survival. I mean, you got an AR on you. Goodness gracious, what else do you need? But the fact that this kind of goes hand in hand with the Glock, and a lot of other guns do too, you know, it's not that. It's just that it's 10mm as well. It's a takedown. It's very lightweight. It's really kind of the ideal survival rifle. Now, the other piece is how does it shoot? All right. My experience shooting it was smooth as silk. Shooting a carbine 10mm is a hoot. It is so much fun. I wish we had more 10mm ammo, to be quite honest. So much fun to shoot this survival rifle. The only piece that I didn't like about it is really, if you try to, you know, is really your foregrip. You know, there was not a lot there. My intuition is to kind of grab the magazine, but then my fingers are over the ejection port. That's not good. If you try to grab anything around the barrel, of course, there's just this little tiny piece of a heat shield that you can grab a hold of. There's not really a lot there. So you kind of have to, it's awkward, I guess is what I'm getting at. It takes a second to figure out how you're going to grab hold of it. But that was really my only hang up. I found it to be fun, accurate, reliable, really a beautiful gun. But in the end, I kind of think it might be, you know, I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning. A survival rifle is ideal for an individual, you know, so what's ideal for you is not ideal for me. And what's ideal for me is not ideal for that guy, you know, so it's going to vary. But overall, I just think, you know, if you're going to be wandering around anywhere that has bears, mountain lions, moose, you know, really that kind of thing, I believe this might be your ultimate. I really do. There's nothing in North America it wouldn't take down. And honestly, if a grizzly bear was charging me and I had an AR pistol, I'd feel pretty good about it, but not nearly as good as a 10mm. It's just a different thing altogether. So, because in the end, the AR is just shooting a 22 caliber. It's just shooting a lot faster than your average 22 LR. So, now I had a couple families from the remnant meetings in Missouri join me down at my range, and they brought a bunch of guns. I want to thank Patrick for bringing this gun. I've always wanted to get a hold of it. There you go. Any thoughts or insight on any of this? Definitely put it below. I definitely want to give a shout out. What do you think the ultimate survival rifle is? Put that in the comments below. Again, don't forget to check out ES Power Drink. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, love guns.